Hey, what's up guys? John from The Lucky Needle, and today I wanted to show you a little trick that I've been using for years on how to make your seams waterproof on certain materials. So the other day I was working on a very large piece of equipment cover to protect it from the weather, and the customer was really concerned about all the seams being waterproof because he had had issues with seams leaking in the past. So one of the materials that I use for protective equipment covers, especially like waterproof ones when it's going to be sitting out in the rain, is something called vinyl coated polyester. And that's what this is right here. It comes in different weight ratings, and basically that's just how thick the material is. So obviously the thicker it's going to be, the stronger it's going to be. With durability also comes the added weight. So you have to kind of decide on, I think this is 18 ounces a yard. This is a nice, it's very strong, lightweight. That's what I like to use for these kind of covers. But anyways, the customer was really concerned about the seams leaking. So what I wanted to show you guys is I sewed up this little pocket, and I want to show you that these seams do actually leak pretty easily with this stuff. So I'm just going to pour some water in here, and you can already see it dripping out the bottom there. So if you had, you know, this piece of equipment, you know, it had computers and TVs in it, and all of that, you can't let it get wet. So it was really important to make this waterproof, and I'm going to show you what I use to do that. So I have, you've probably seen this before. It's called HH66 vinyl cement, and it can be used on anything that's made out of vinyl. You can use it on PVC and other sort of things, but this will actually make everything waterproof and airtight if you want. This is actually what they use to build like those big bounce houses and stuff like that. They use this to seal it closed so that the air won't escape. So basically what I like to do, I'm gonna dry this off really quick just because I don't want the water to make the glue not work. All right, so this HH66 vinyl cement, typically it's got a brush that sticks on the end of this cap. I typically cut that off because it gets, when you stick it back down in the can, it gets all over the stem of the brush and everything, and then it just drips down and makes a mess, and you get this glue on places that you don't want it, and it ruins your project. So it's nice that they put that there, but in my opinion, it's not needed, and I don't use it. So basically what I do is I buy these little tiny brushes from, I get these at Harbor Freight. They're super cheap. It's like $2 for 40 of them or something like that. So I'll put a link up for that if we can find one. And then I'll also put up a link for this HH66. You can get this pretty easily online. So one thing that I want to mention is that a lot of people, what they'll do is they just come and paint the seams on that side and on that side. And theoretically, it should soak into the holes where the thread is and seal that seam up. But in my experience, sometimes that doesn't always work. So what I also like to do is put some glue actually inside the seam here so that these pieces, the seam allowance actually seals together. And then I find that that just makes for a much stronger bond. So you're just gonna get a little bit on your brush, because what you don't wanna do is accidentally get this like on the face of the material or something, somewhere that you don't, like it's gonna change the color of the face if you get this on spots that you don't want it to. So just be really careful. And I just come in here and run the paintbrush along the seam just like that. All right, and now what I'm gonna do is come back here and just paint these. Just a nice light little coat over top of the thread here. We'll do the other side. All right, and now we're just gonna let this dry, and we'll test it to see if it's actually waterproof. This stuff takes, I wanna say it's about 5 minutes for it to dry, and then it's ready to go. So we'll wait about 5 minutes and then we'll test this out. All right, so it's been about 5 minutes and I can tell that this is dry enough to use. When you touch it with your fingers, it's not sticky. One other thing, with this vinyl cement, I like to come back and really squeeze the edges because this stuff does work like contact cement where you're supposed to let it dry separately and then wait till it tacks up and then stick it together. So on the seams where we went in between, I like to come and press that closed. But the reason why I'm not super worried about that is because we're really just using this glue to kind of fill the holes that the needle poked. And seal those off, but it's just another extra, layer of protection to make sure the seam allowance is glued together, because you can see you can't peel it apart anymore. I mean, this vinyl cement is it's so strong that it'll rip the fabric before you rip the seam. So let's give this a test and see if it still leaks. All right, there you go. It's holding water, no problem. Very unlikely that you'll ever need for it to be this waterproof, but if something's sitting in the rain for a long period of time, it can seep through the seams, so this will make a big difference when you're working with this type of material. Now you might be wondering what about canvas, like Sunbrella or marine canvas? Now that's a different material. It doesn't have any vinyl in it. That's all acrylic based typically, and they do have seam sealers for that. I think it's called ISO seam sealer. I can put up a link for that as well. It works very similar to vinyl cement. It's just for a different product, right? Because the way this vinyl cement works is it actually it melts a little bit the vinyl and adheres it together, but it has to be vinyl, PVC, something like that. If it's acrylic based, it doesn't do anything. So that's what I would suggest, and I hope this helps you on your projects, because this is what I've been doing for years to make my covers waterproof, and it makes a big difference. It does add some time to the job, but for the end product, I think it's really worth the extra time. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed that little tip, and make sure you subscribe to our channel for more tips and tricks just like this, and I'll see you guys next time.